tonight I'll be guiding us through a restorative practice where the only prop that you need is going to be the wall. If you do have other props, something that might be useful or supportive and that I'll be cueing through is how to use a strap to support you in some of these postures. And again, no need to have that. Really, we just need the wall. This is just a little bit extra. So we're going to actually start in a comfortable seat and bring our hips towards the wall so that we can find some alignment through the body using the assistance of the wall. We've got a little ponytail like me. Might get in the way here. That's okay. So we're just going to start here by bringing the hips towards the wall and then seeing if we can bring the shoulder blades to the wall as well. Maybe the neck comes, or maybe the head comes to the wall here. And just allowing yourself to settle in. Maybe your eyes soften or they close. You can have the hands rested in the lap or even at the heart space. Allow yourself to settle in here. Allowing the eyes to soften or close. And begin to just notice how the body's feeling. Notice how the support of the wall changes the sensation within this posture. And really allow yourself to be supported here. Maybe as you bring your attention to the physical body, you also begin to notice the subtle body, that emotional body. A lot of times when we take these supported postures, it allows our body to release that subtle energy, that subtle emotional energy. So don't be taken aback if you start to notice some emotional release. Know that you're in a safe space, a place that's safe to hold those emotional releases. And maybe as you continue to notice the physical and the emotional body, you begin to link those two parts of yourself, the physical and the emotional, with the breath. Breathing in through the nose, filling into the chest, the ribs, the belly, and out the same way, the belly, the ribs, the chest. Noticing the feedback that you're getting from both the floor and the wall as you take these full, complete inhales and these full, complete exhales. Take about 3 to 5 more breaths just like this. Feeling the ebb and the flow of the breath in the body. Maybe how that translates to the ebb and the flow of the subtle body, that emotional body. If you've come here tonight with an intention for your practice, I invite you to speak on that intention. So with every inhale, imagine saying that intention to yourself. And as you exhale, release that intention out into the world to create space within you to find those tools to make it so. So again, this give and take of the breath of your intention. Giving that intention to yourself, and then offering that up to the world to free up space within you for the tools to make it so. Take a couple rounds of breath, linking breath with intention. Using the breath as this yoking tool, this tool of yoga. And then as you're ready, allow the eyes to open to reorient the space. Before we go ahead and shift to lying on our backs, if you have that strap, we can go ahead and get that ready to support us in our postures. We're just going to begin to make this big loop with the strap. So if you've got one with these little 2 rings, you just thread one side, the non-ringed side through the rings, and then you split the rings, bring that loop over, and then slide it through. And then we'll be adjusting the tightness of this, the size of the loop, so you can keep it pretty big for right now. And we'll adjust that as we get there. Now to get on into our first posture, legs up the wall, we're going to bring our hips towards the wall, giving ourselves a little bit of space between us and the wall, so maybe like a hip or a fist width distance, or even a little bit more. And then I like to come down onto my forearms and bring my legs up as I lower all the way down. And then sweep myself around. Maybe getting the mat caught underneath you. That's okay. If you land further from the wall than you'd like to be, you can kind of wiggle, walk the legs up the wall to create less space between you and the wall. Once you arrive in a place where your hips are close to the wall, legs straight, feet reaching towards the ceiling, maybe play around with pointing and flexing the toes real quick. Maybe it makes a little bit of a scuffing noise on your wall. Then allow yourself to find some stillness. Just allowing that lymph fluid and the blood to run the opposite direction. You can bring your hands out towards the sides in this kind of cactus shape. You can reach them all the way up and overhead. Paying attention to if the shoulders are grounding down. If you feel like your hands are floating like mine are right now, I encourage you to allow the floor to support you by taking a variation in the arms where the shoulders are grounded, the entirety of the arms are grounded. We'll spend a little bit of time here. Allowing yourself to connect back to the breath. Allowing that breath to connect you to your intention, to your physical body, to your emotional body. If at any point in time this feels too intense, you can always bring a little bit of a bend in the knees or find a little wiggle in the legs. If you notice the mind wandering, know that you can come back to that breath. Feeling those full, complete inhales into the chest, the ribs, the belly. And out the same way through the belly, the ribs, the chest. As we rest into some of these postures, there can be this tendency to want to move, to want to fidget. I want you to see if you come to this point where you feel like you want to move, can you spend at least one more breath cycle in stillness? Just pushing those boundaries of, do I need this movement? Do I need to wiggle the toes or shift the feet? Taking the time to consider that within a breath cycle. And then if ultimately you land on the answer yes, allowing yourself to have what you need. We'll take about 3 more breath cycles here. And then as you're ready to begin to find that movement, maybe just begin with the toes, creating these little circles with the toes, allowing that to grow into movements with the knees. Eventually, kind of walking the heels down the wall. Bringing the feet flat to the wall, the knees in towards the chest. We'll take some time here. Now, if you've got that strap handy, an option for you in this posture is to take the strap, lift the feet, bring the strap around the thighs, and then tighten that strap so that you have a little bit of extra support keeping the legs together. So we'll tighten the strap here around the thighs. Just noticing any shifts in sensation by having that little bit of support here. Knowing that if you've got quite a long strap, it may take a little bit of shortening here. And then again, find a place for the arms to rest, either down by the side, cactus, or up overhead. Maybe choosing a slightly different arm variation for this posture here. Using the breath to focus the mind, to fall here into your posture, into this moment, knowing that if anything begins to pull you away from this current moment, whether that be the mind, the physical sensation, the emotional or subtle body, that you can use your breath to connect it to the here and now. Allow yourself to experience those experiences without letting those experiences take you away. We'll take about 10 more breath cycles here, really experiencing that full, complete inhale. That complete exhale to soften, to sink. And then as you're ready, begin to knock the hips over towards the right side of the mat. So we're keeping the feet on the wall. You may scooch the hips further away from the wall here. That's okay. And maybe that opposite shoulder lifts up off the mat. That's also okay here. If you feel like you don't have accessibility to ground down both shoulders, you can bring that top arm up and around to caress the body as you find this little side laying position here. If you want to explore with a little bit different sensation, you can extend that bottom leg out long as the top knee pulls in. If you're exploring that sensation, you can shift that strap off the thighs to facilitate that. So you can be here with the shoulders slightly stacked, this full opening of the arms. Finding a comfortable place to breathe and experience the pose. Knowing that if there's something that calls to you within the posture to shift or change, see if you can take one more breath in and one more breath out to just assess, is this something that I need, or is this something that I want? And then making a choice based on that assessment to shift the shape. Knowing that there's not a right or wrong answer to that question. There only is your experience and how you choose to respond to it. We'll take about 10 more breaths here. Those full, complete inhales. Those exhales to ground you, to settle you. As you're ready, begin to bring the knees back through center so you can tippy-toe those feet up the wall. And then we'll take them over towards the other side. Ooh, my strap got stuck. If your strap has gotten trapped underneath you, you can shift it out of the way. And begin to let those knees fall over towards the opposite side, so the left side here. I also find, especially if you feel like the knees are floating here, that the strap can kind of support the legs to keep them together. You can also bring something underneath the knees if you want to try to facilitate keeping that right shoulder down. Again, on this side, you can extend long through that bottom leg to create a slightly different sensation. Or you can bring the shoulders to stack and just kind of come into this fetal posture and rest here, finding a smaller twist in the body. Find that place where you can rest down. Connect with the breath. Experiencing this ebb and flow of sensation. Dropping into the shape. We'll explore this posture for about 10 more breaths. Seeing if you can really fully express those inhales and exhales. This breath is a message to the nervous system to settle in, to slow down. And as you're ready, we'll begin to shift those legs back through center as you even out the hips on the mat. Maybe take a moment to just wiggle the hips. Shift the knees from side to side. And if you've got that strap, go ahead and loosen up the loop. Easier said than done sometimes. Go ahead and allow yourself to find a lot of space with that loop, and we'll walk the heels back up the wall here, making a choice whether you want to scooch back in towards the wall or have a little bit more space. And we'll allow the legs to come out long, bringing the strap towards the outsides of the calves. Allowing yourself to find as wide of a straddle as feels good for your body. Mine's about here, but yours could be less or more. And then find a variation for the arms. Arms out to a T, that cactus shape. Maybe you grab for opposite elbows overhead. Making a choice that you know you can rest into. So a lot of times that means a supported place where the arms can reach the mat. And I'll take some moments here. Seeing if you can really tap into the sound of the breath. Maybe how that breath sweeps you in towards the current moment and then away, back in towards this current moment, and allows you to drift away, this ebb and flow. Allow yourself about 10 more breaths here. Flowing in and out of the posture simply by that visualization of the breath. As you're ready to begin to come out, begin to bring the legs back through center. That strap, if you had it, will fall down. You can choose to take the strap off, or you can just kind of leave it laying on top of you if it's not bothersome. And begin to walk the feet back down the wall. And then open up the knees here. You may want to wiggle a little bit, either closer or further away from the wall. And then here you can take your hands and have the elbows resting on the wall. The hands come towards the knees. For me, this creates the sensation of support. Even if the legs really aren't pressing into the hands, it gives this tactile sense that something is holding me here. So you can leave the hands here. You can bring them to a variation that feels good. And then tap back into that ebb and flow. This time, maybe thinking about the breath as if it were a wave and you were standing on the beach and the waves were kind of moving over the feet. As the wave comes in, as the breath comes in, it sweeps over you. And as you exhale, that wave sweeps out. You sink a little bit deeper into that sand. You sink a little bit deeper into this posture. This sensation of deepening with the breath, this kind of non-active experience of a posture. Allow yourself about 10 more rounds of breath here. As you're ready to come out, you can bring the hands towards the outsides of the knees. Help facilitate them coming in. And then you'll gently rock over to one comfortable side to begin to shift up into a seat just momentarily. Straightening out the mat if you made any crinkles in it like I did. We'll begin to shift into our Shavasana. If you've got that strap, an option to take it around the thighs, once again to find that little bit of extra support. Tightening the strap around, oh, I got twisted here. Tightening your strap around the thighs. Not so much that it feels like it's like squeezing, but that it's holding the legs together. So this little hug for the legs. Allow yourself to come back onto your mat, lowering down, allowing the waves of your breath to sweep over you as you rest and integrate your practice here. Every inhale, that sweep of the wave coming over the feet, over the body. And that exhale, the wave moving back out, that's sinking down into the sand that's also being pulled away from underneath you. Allow yourself to rest here, knowing that I will wake you when it's time. Know that you can stay here as long as you would like. And if you're ready, You can begin to tap back into the body, starting with that breath in and that breath out. Allowing the breath to begin to stimulate movement in those furthest extremities, the fingers and the toes. Maybe they begin to wiggle. Allowing that movement to grow in ways that feels good, at a pace that feels good. So maybe that wiggle turns into a point and a flex, or even circles in the wrists and the ankles. As that movement grows, maybe it builds enough momentum to begin to bring the knees in towards the chest. And then find that gentle rock over to one comfortable side. Take a moment here for gratitude, to thank yourself for coming to your practice. And as you're ready, begin to press into your palm and lift yourself up into a comfortable seat, releasing that strap if you've got it around the thighs. Allowing the eyes to stay soft or closed. Hands come to rest at the heart space. We'll end today's practice with a communal breath, beginning by exhaling the stale air in our lungs. Inhaling through the nose to fill up. And an audible sigh out together. Allow the prayer to rise to your third eye space. Begin to bow forward. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me this evening. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whenever you decided to practice. Have a good day.